I am so excited. I no longer have to keep a secret from you guys. If you haven't watched yesterday's video, I finally launched my collab with Ofra Cosmeticos. I'm so excited. And so I've done so much short form behind the scenes. I've gotten pretty creative with it. I'm obsessed with my very own collection, but I kind of wanted to play around with it and just kind of give you guys some details on the stuff that was going on behind the scenes. Cause girl, I was stressing. Mija, this is like a chit chat. Get ready with me. So let's dive on in. I'm gonna use the Hydro Grip by Milk Makeup. I don't know why I was gonna say Milk Magico. So let me explain to you. Almost a year ago, I was invited or provided the offer to do this collab, and I knew that I wanted to do a palette. The color story, I kind of already knew what I wanted to do also, but the theme and or the names of the eyeshadows just hadn't come to me. And I knew I had time. It would be months before I had to narrow down shades and stuff like that and the names, but I didn't want to force anything. I wanted it to come really naturally, and it actually did, which is crazy. I remember this so vividly. On Christmas Eve, I figured out what I wanted my palette to be themed after. When it's the holidays, if I'm hosting, I want to be the only one in the kitchen. I only want to be touching the dishes in the sink and all of that. Like, that's who I am. I was doing all the cooking. I took a quick break. I'm having a sip of wine. I'm listening to everyone talking, and somehow it came to me. So I'm looking at the adult and I'm like, wow, we've all gone through so much to get to where we are here in life. Then I look at the kids and I'm like, wow, these kids have transitioned from living in New Jersey to now living in Florida. It's such an adjustment. And all I could think was, my husband is so right. Kids are so resilient. And then I go, but so are we as adults, because we go through so many changes in life and somehow we adapt and we kind of push through. Right then and there is when I knew the palette's name would be the Resilient palette. I'm gonna go in with the Level Up Primer. Listen, I've been using this for so freaking long that this is still my sample. I have several backups, of course, but there's no need to dive on into another brand new one if there's still plenty in here. A little bit is gonna go a very long way, so just mentally prepare for that. I'm gonna hit pause on talking about like the shades, the shade names, and all of that and how that came about, because I really wanna give you guys a little more detail on the primer. Listen, this baby is going to do what you needed to do for your eyeshadow. We've gone through so many samples. I was very picky and I felt bad because, you know, there's nothing wrong with asking for what you want, but I also wanted to make sure that I wasn't like paying too much. So I remember being like, hey, I'd like to create my own primer. They said yes. I was like, bet, okay, cool. I was giving them all the deets on what I wanted and what I expected out of the primer. And then I felt like, am I being too extra? My God. But I wanted nothing but perfection for you guys. And so I was like, look, if I get a no, I'm gonna get a no, and that's fine. But if I don't ask, I don't know, right? Ofra Cosmetics, the team, so amazing. We can do it. Yep, we can do it. Absolutely, we can do it. They started creating the primer formula based on what I wanted. The first one worked, but then it was breaking up and it was a whole thing. And I was just like, no, the other one looked dry. We went through several formulas until I found the one that I was like, yes, whatever you did to this one is it. And then we tried it for a few months, and then we had it tested on older skin and younger skin and oily skin and dry skin and everything. And it literally worked on everyone. And someone who has really, really oily skin and needed an amazing primer was like, thank you, you did that. And that made me so happy. So that primer is gonna be absolutely amazing. I'm gonna dive into the palette. I've done a lot of short form, like I said, pero I feel like I wanna dedicate some love to that beautiful topper I named Strong. I'm gonna grab a flat synthetic brush, dip it into Strong, and I'm gonna tap that directly onto the lid and start swiping. It is a topper, so it's gonna add some shimmer to the eye, but if applied with a brush, you're gonna get such a beautiful smoky shade because it also has a lot of pigment in it. So this is a versatile shade for sure. Look at that. And notice how the pigment is pigmenting. The opacity is there. We didn't have to go in with a black base. The shimmers are going to stay put, and that's because my primer, the Level Up primer, gripped it like a freaking magnet. And look at the shimmers on my eyeballs. And if you want extra shimmer, once you've set that primer with your eyeshadow, right, you can go in and you can use a brush or a finger and just kind of tap some extra on top just to give it that extra shimmery effect. And with a really fine teeny tiny brush, I'm just gonna go along that edge at an angle like this because I don't want to bring the shimmers up to kind of start diffusing the edge. That primer, I've tested it for up to 10 hours and my eyeshadow has stayed put all freaking day in the Florida humidity. I've been using that primer since earlier this year. It survived all summer. It's definitely a must try, a must have. Do not sleep on her. By the way, anything that I have over at Ofra, you can use is even like the new launches and my collection. You can use my promo code Yari to get 20% off your entire order. And it's not necessarily a one-time use. Every single time you place an order, you can use the promo code to save some money. And yes, it's an affiliate code, so I get some kickback for referring you over. Pero it's kind of like a win-win-win, right? You purchase off of Ofra, you get a discount, so you save some money, and then I get a little bit of a commission, which is kind of cute. So if you choose to use my promo code, I really do appreciate that, and I want to say thank you in advance. Look at that. I'm so happy with her. You see how simple it is? You can even go in with strong and do a one and done. Smoky eyes don't have to be difficult, and that's why I wanted to create a palette to simplify your life, help you create sophisticated looks in such a quick and effortless way. And I want you guys to feel confident and encouraged and empowered. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the other side. Believe it or not, I came up with the names for the shades prior to narrowing down my color story. I knew kind of like what shades I wanted, but there's more than just saying a purple or a black topper with shimmer in it. I learned a lot throughout this process. There's way more than we have ever thought there was that goes into creating a collection. For instance, I knew that I wanted a black topper, but how deep did I want it? How shimmery do I want it? Do I want it to be pigmented, or do I want it to kind of be more on the sheer side and more on the shimmery glitter side, which also means that more than likely it's going to gravitate towards the rest of your face a lot more because it doesn't have a base of a pigment to kind of hold it together. There was so much that I learned, which I appreciate Ofra's team kind of guiding me and educating me. Let's apply some concealer really quickly. Down here. All the shade names have something to do with being resilient, strong, growth, driven, assertive, dreamer, even the level up primer. Whatever's left, I'm gonna kind of like pull out to lift the eye a bit. Let's move on to the shade Growth. Now, I feel as though anyone who actually knows me or watches my channel consistently would know that I always say you need a really deep tone to create a smoky eye. Now, granted, we got strong. However, we like our options, right? So when it comes to Growth, I knew I wanted a deep espresso type of brown, but I also wanted it to have a gray undertone versus a red undertone. A gray undertone offers so much versatility to a shade. You can use it to smoke out. You can use it to cut a crease and add some dimension and or depth. You can even use it to fill your brows in. For many complexions, I'm gonna show you how it works for me. I remember telling my husband, oh God, Ofra's gonna hate me. And he goes, why? And I said, because I know what I want. I've reviewed and tried so many formulas that I know what colors and what undertones. I know my vision. I know what I want, but I don't feel like I'm expressing it right, you know? And so the first sample had more red in it. And I was like, no, it needs to be deeper and cooler. I need more gray. Funny enough, that one was fairly easy to like make a switch on because the second time around that I got the sample, it was pure perfection. Growth is amazing under the eye if you want to keep it simple, under the eye, and then blended all over the lid into the crease, kind of like what we did with Strong, but it'll be matte. Mascara, stunning. I've done it. And you guys asked me, what is that? The Resilient palette. Before I finish off the eyeballs, I want to go into Growth with an angled brush so that I can show you what I'm saying. Because the shade Growth has a gray undertone, you are able to fill in sparse areas on your brow. This is not going to help you reshape. This is not going to help you sculpt the brow or anything like that. This is going to help fill the areas where maybe you have brow hair, but they're very fine, very thin, very short by adding a shadow. Growth is providing a shadow, making your brow look way fuller. And similar to many other brow powders, the heavier handed you go in, the deeper it's going to look because of course it has pigment. Or the more lightweight you apply it, the lighter the shadow. And this is gonna be perfect if you're gonna travel with the palette. You don't have to worry about packing an extra brow product. You can just take your palette and you're good to go. Now, look, the brow is filled. There's definitely a before and after situation going on. You can definitely go in with a brow gel afterward and the brow is going to stay put. The pigment is not gonna go away. You're gonna keep your shadow. Driven is a beautiful matte shade. Now, if you haven't seen like the actual reveal where I go into depth and all of that on the formulas, I am gonna link that below for you guys, but I'm gonna go into Driven very lightly. I'm gonna tap out. This is beautiful for all over the lid. It's gonna be an everyday shade for you, but it's also a great transition shade to add a little bit of warmth. So I'm going to lightly pat some of Driven out here, trying to help tie the entire look together. The smallest amount of pigment makes a difference. Dreamer is a frost. I'm gonna go in with a rounded brush. It's a rounded pencil brush. This shade, so funny because most people want to go with like something that you can use universally as a highlight. And I was like, no, I don't want a super radiant finish. I want something that's soft, that can be used all over the lid and not be too extra, that can complement any look, that even when you shift and the light hits it in, you know, at the perfect angle, you get a little something, but it's not too much. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but when it comes to Ofra collabs, most of the time people want to do like bronzers and highlighters and liquid lips, and I am so different. I don't know if it's a gift or a curse because I want to do the total opposite from what everybody else does. I'm going to curl my lashes and then I'm going to go in with Ofra's mascara. This is the original. They do have a waterproof, but I go with the original all the time. Let me go ahead and apply this. I'll be right back. I started applying the mascara and then I was like, girl, this is your collab. Go all out. And I haven't worn lashes like falsies in a little bit. So I'm going to wear these. They're like dramatic, but still kind of simple and cute. So let's see. Girl, I just totally rode the struggle bus. I ended up ripping those lashes. So I was like, but it's fine. I went in with this style here. I don't know what happened. I'm being too aggressive. Hormonal, no sé. I ended up damaging those too. So I went to my tried and true Temu lashes, and those are the ones that are on. And it's like a 10 pack for like $4. What? They broke. You see the eye? Do you see how simple that is? Like, let's move on to the cheeks. And on the cheeks, I've really just been using this, either this or like some creams, but mostly this in terms of powders. This is the Sweet and Sassy palette by Ofra and Rhonda, which is Hot Mess Mama of 4 here on, where's my brush? On the YouTube. This palette is like pure perfection, you guys. There's just no way around it. I love to mix and match shades to create my own color, but you can also use, like, look how pigmented, you gotta be careful, but you could also use shades individually. This palette, along with her other collab, are currently 10% off over on the Ofra website as part of like a celebration that my collab is finally live. They said, hey, your favorites, let's put them on sale. And I was like, absolutely put Rhonda's stuff in there because you need Rhonda's collabs. She did such a stunning job with both of them. And I just feel like it was not shocking because she's an amazing person. I get it. Like I knew she had it in her, but I didn't realize the magnitude of a difference that palette would make in my collection and many people's collections. You need to snag her. And by the way, Miss Rhonda, we need to give credit to Miss Rhonda, and I greatly appreciate her, not just as a friend, but as the amazing human being that she is. She's been supporting me throughout this entire process from the moment I found out that I would have my own collab with Ofra until launch day, step by step. Every time I needed to get feedback, opinions, like raw opinions, Rhonda was there. She's done this before. She knows how this goes. And I truly value her friendship and her opinion. She's gonna be linked below, but Rhonda needs to get a shout out because I love her. Miss Rhonda, I love you. You spoke this into existence. You know our conversations and you did that. And then my poor husband, guys, Mr. G has really been putting up with me. Okay, it's getting hot in here. It has been day in and day out, non-stop. Planning, prepping, scheduling, filming for the launch, getting ideas. And yes, he has been so supportive, not just with helping me come up with a great way to express the theme, but eyeshadow names and even the collection name. Like, he's so great at coming up with things. And I'm like, this is my vision. And I'm so nervous. I can't see past it. Not only is he an amazing husband, but he's a great partner and life in general. It's my best friend. And he actually helped make this happen too, which is crazy. It's crazy. The Flexi Slick called Chica. I named this after you guys. If you saw the launch video, you'd know. I had been looking for like the most perfect pink. A pink that could go on very lightweight, like the nails, see, like nice and natural, and enhance the pink from my lips just to make them look a little more balanced and pretty. But you can also build it up and make it look like a brighter pink. But I don't want it to be a baby pink that wasn't gonna be forgiving, because if it washes me out, like depending on your complexion, it would just be weird. This here, we tweaked the color a few times, but we got it right. And so you don't have to be afraid. See how light? You don't have to be afraid that it would be way too strong on you. It's a hybrid. So you're gonna get a balm, a gloss, and if anything, a liquid lip all in one. Now it's not gonna dry down matte. It's going to look like this. You give it a few and it will set. It'll still be hydrating, but even as you eat and you drink, you'll still see some pigment left behind. Once you go in to apply more, it builds so well. It's gonna be forgiving. It's not going to look crunchy or chunky and weird. It's not gonna like peel off of your lips. And it is a perfect pink to pair with any look, whether it's natural, whether it's bold. And also one thing that I kind of keep forgetting to say is I wanted to make sure that the palette was something that you can use for day or night or just in general, but also travel friendly. And this baby is as easy as packing in a bag and you're good to go. You can go with an everyday neutral eye or full-on glam. You guys, here is the look. I cannot believe the collab is out. This is bananas. Believe it or not, I'm still very nervous. I always want to hear you guys' thoughts. I want to hear what your impressions are. I want to hear what you think about the eye look. What do you guys think about the color story? I can't wait for you guys to start receiving it. If you create looks with any of the items out of this collection, please make sure you tag me. My Instagram as well as my TikTok, and obviously YouTube is linked in the description box. I always love seeing what you guys come up with. All right, you guys, thank you again for all the support. I really appreciate you guys. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I will see you guys in an unboxing tomorrow. Bye guys.